Story 1. Getting a raise doesn't mean you'll make less money. Even though you can look at progressive tax brackets and marginal tax rates and see that this is not true. The same goes for working overtime. It is worth it as you do not make less. Story 2. The police cannot lie to you, and they must identify themselves as police if you ask. However, they can and will lie to you completely, and your response will be valid in court even if it is based on a lie. Story 3. If you touch baby animals, the mother may not want them because of your scent. This is a myth that my family, for the most part, believes. If I were to name every myth and conspiracy theory my uncle has, I could be typing for hours. Story 4. That deoxygenated human blood is not blue. It is dark red. It appears blue through the skin due to the way light interacts with the layers of tissue. Story 5. To properly train a dog, especially a tough dog breed, you must be firm and ensure they recognize you as the leader. Training should not involve intimidation, punishment, or discomfort. Methods such as shock collars, prong collars, shaking cans of coins, spray bottles, yelling no, rubbing their nose in accidents, leash corrections, and other harsh techniques should be avoided. The American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior and the broader veterinary behavior community recommend against these outdated training methods in all contexts. Experts in this field acknowledge that such approaches are less effective, inhumane, and completely unnecessary. Unfortunately, there is a segment of the population that remains very upset about this updated guidance. Story 6. Chiropractic is often considered ineffective, as there is no scientific evidence supporting its medical benefits. It can be seen as a practice that has persisted despite advancements in modern science. Story 7. Stomach ulcers are primarily caused by a bacterial infection that is easily treatable with antibiotics. While stress and a poor diet can worsen the symptoms, they are not the main causes. Story 8. That your wisdom teeth push all your teeth forward. They conducted a large study and removed everyone's wisdom teeth, yet their teeth still moved forward. This phenomenon is known as late lower incisal crowding. Story 9. Medieval people were not dumb or stupid, and the notion that God turned off the light for 1,000 years is a misconception. Thanks to the Middle Ages, we have clocks, glasses, parliaments, books, and the printing press. Medieval people were just as intelligent and innovative as any humans in history. Story 10. If people spend a lot of time together, their menstrual periods may sync up. However, newer research and reviews suggest that this is likely not the case. It is somewhat analogous to an eclipse in that, if you wait long enough, things may align perfectly for a moment before returning to normal. Story 11. Widening highways will alleviate traffic. Our highways are larger than ever, yet our traffic is worse than it has ever been. Story 12. The full moon does not make people and animals act erratically due to chemical shifts in the brain. This is a misconception. A full moon is no closer to Earth than a new moon. The moon's gravity does impact certain phenomena, particularly tides, which occur daily as the moon orbits close to the ocean. Here are more myths that need clarification. Self-administered personality tests such as Myers-Briggs are not scientific and can never be accurate because they rely on self-assessment. There is nothing scientifically valid about astrology. It is based on broad confirmation biases similar to those used by cold readers. Searing meat does not lock in juices, despite what many celebrity chefs claimed in the early 2000s. Instead, it triggers the Maillard reaction, which caramelizes sugars in the meat and enhances its flavor. The seeds in chili peppers are not spicy. The tissue inside the pepper contains the heat that can transfer to the seeds. Sugar does not cause hyperactivity. Turkey does not make you any more drowsy than other foods. Fatigue is often due to consuming a large number of calories in a short time. Monosodium glutamate is not harmful. If you are concerned about consuming it, you should also consider the many other foods that naturally contain it, such as red meat, tomatoes, grapes, mushrooms, and cheese. Most bourbon is produced in Kentucky, but there is no legal requirement for bourbon to be made there. Bulls cannot see the color red. They react aggressively due to the movements of the person provoking them. Canids, such as dogs and wolves, do not have an alpha in the wild, contrary to popular belief. These misconceptions can be frustrating. Story 13. America is the greatest country on earth. It is the freest nation and a democratic society. The American dream is possible, and America is a meritocracy that serves as the envy of the world. Story 14. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, is associated with cancer. The primary source of MSG in the United States is Asian markets, due to a decades-old letter to the editor from a remote area in New York. Story 15. Daddy longlegs are often considered the most venomous spiders, but they cannot bite humans because their fangs are too small. There are 3 different types of insects commonly referred to by this name. The first is harvestmen, which are arachnids but not spiders. They do not have fangs or venom. The second is cellar spiders, which possess both fangs and venom and can bite humans, but their venom is particularly weak. The third is crane flies, which are not arachnids at all, and I don't believe they bite humans. My family and I colloquially refer to crane flies as catawampas, although I am not sure of the origin of that term. Story 16. Multitasking often involves switch tasking or backtasking. Research indicates that switch tasking makes individuals ineffective and inefficient, ultimately taking longer to complete tasks while increasing stress and frustration. Backtasking can be acceptable, provided that the activity in the background is mundane and does not require constant attention, such as listening to music or baking something in the oven. Story 17. Shaving does not make your hair grow back thicker and darker. I have been shaving my legs for 15 years, and I can confirm it is not true. Story 18. That sugar in a gas tank can harm an engine by clogging the fuel filter and injectors. In reality, it will simply float to the bottom of the tank and slowly dissolve. You would need to add 5 to 6 gallons of sugar for it to even attempt to clog the fuel filter of most vehicles. Story 19. My mother-in-law still believes that going outside with wet hair will give you a cold. I am a nurse and I have explained countless times that colds are caused by viruses, not temperature. Story 20. People before Columbus's time did not think the world was flat. Every sailor would have known the Earth was round due to the observable phenomenon of distant objects disappearing below the horizon. This can only occur if the Earth is round. Any educated person since the Greeks would also have known how to calculate the Earth's circumference. Even by around 200 BC, we had determined the Earth's circumference within a 0.5% margin of error. Story 21. Repressed memories of trauma, now rebranded as dissociative amnesia, are a topic of considerable debate. Research overwhelmingly shows that alterations in memory associated with trauma involve specific details rather than a complete blockage of traumatic events. The human brain is remarkably adept at remembering trauma. Despite ongoing controversy about memory repression in popular culture and among some therapists, scholars overwhelmingly reject the existence of repressed memories, with 85 to 90% citing established neuroscience as evidence. Additionally, social media significantly contributes to a culture of suggestion that perpetuates this issue. Story 22. Some people believe that vaccines are harmful, which can endanger the health of their own children. Story 23. The color of the wiring is important when disarming a bomb. It serves organizational purposes, but a madman could easily decide to make them all white. Story 24. Trickle-down economics and austerity have never led to a successful economy, yet people continue to pursue them. Communism is also ineffective. In contrast, systems with strong private and public sectors like Norway and the United States before Reagan tend to function effectively. Keynesian economics offers valuable insights. Story 25. I work in a beer shop. Just because beer is cold at the store doesn't mean it has to stay cold. It's the light that causes it to skunk. Story 26. The message regarding danger has been debunked. The Food and Drug Administration and the World Health Organization agree that it is safe. Early studies had flaws, but modern science shows otherwise. Story 27. Victorian doctors reportedly used to stimulate their female patients to cure hysteria and grew so fatigued by the process that they invented the vibrator. Both claims stem from a historian's work in the 1990s, which has been debunked. Story 28. It's been around for decades, but I heard this one in person for the first time just last week, and was shocked into silence. Mr. Rogers was a Marine sniper and always wore long sleeves to cover up his tattoos. For the younger audience, Mr. Rogers had a television show called Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, where he, a gentle and soft-spoken host, taught children about caring for each other, being kind, and self-acceptance. He was a national treasure. Fred Rogers went from high school to college to a career in television. He was never in the military at all and was an avowed pacifist. They're conflating Mr. Rogers with Bob Ross, the quiet, curly-haired host of the painting show, The Joy of Painting. Bob was an Air Force drill sergeant for 20 years, and when he retired, he swore he would never yell at anyone again. Story 29. You do not need a vehicle larger than an ocean liner if you have kids. We have managed just fine over the years with 2 kids, who are now 6-foot-tall teenagers, using smaller cars such as a Pontiac Vibe, Saturn SL1, Toyota Corolla, and Scion XD. We have never owned or felt the need to own a minivan, Tahoe, or Expedition. We have always had plenty of room, even when they were toddlers and supposedly needed a lot of things. All they required was a diaper bag and a fold-up umbrella stroller. Anything else stayed at home. Story 30. Billionaires making more money will trickle down to the people who are being exploited to generate that wealth. Story 31. Vaccines do not cause autism. Weightlifting contributes to muscle growth. The government is here to protect us. Jesus is real. Story 32. Bit asks, bot answers. Based on popular discussions, here are 20 myths that many people continue to believe despite being debunked. 1. We swallow 8 spiders a year in our sleep. This myth likely originated from a 1993 magazine article highlighting how people readily accept false information. Mice love cheese. In reality, mice prefer foods like fruits or candy over cheese. The Americas were mostly unpopulated before European arrival. In fact, diseases brought by Europeans decimated up to 95% of the native population before direct contact. Touching a baby bird will cause its mother to abandon it. Most birds do not have a strong sense of smell and will not abandon their chicks due to human touch. Vaccines cause autism. This debunked myth continues to persist, despite extensive research showing no link between vaccines and autism. Humans only use 10% of their brains. Neuroimaging shows that virtually all parts of the brain have some function and are active over a 24-hour period. Goldfish have a 3-second memory. Goldfish can remember things for months and are capable of learning. Bulls get angry when they see the color red. Bulls are colorblind to red. It's the movement of the matador's cape that provokes them. Shaving makes hair grow back thicker. Shaving does not change the thickness or rate of hair growth. It just appears coarser due to the blunt tip. 10. Cracking knuckles causes arthritis. There is no evidence linking knuckle cracking to arthritis. 11. The Great Wall of China is visible from space. The wall is not visible to the naked eye from space. 12. Lightning never strikes the same place twice. Lightning often strikes the same place multiple times, especially tall structures. 13. You need to drink 8 glasses of water a day. Individual water needs vary, and much hydration comes from food and other beverages. 14. Bats are blind. Bats have functional eyes and can see. Many also use echolocation to navigate. 15. Sugar causes hyperactivity in children. Studies have shown no direct link between sugar consumption and hyperactive behavior in children. 16. Chameleons change color to match their surroundings. Chameleons primarily change color due to temperature, light, and mood, not for camouflage. 17. Humans have 5 senses. Humans have more than 5 senses, including balance, temperature, and pain. 18. Deoxygenated blood is blue. Human blood is always red. Veins appear blue due to light interacting with our skin. 19. Hair and fingernails continue to grow after death. They do not grow after death. The skin recedes, making them appear longer. 20. Toads cause warts. Warts are caused by human viruses, not by handling toads. These myths persist in popular culture, but understanding the facts can help dispel these misconceptions. Story 33. Republicans are often considered good for the economy. However, 96% of jobs created in the last 35 years were under Democratic presidents. Every Republican presidential term in history has experienced a recession, except for Ronald Reagan's second term, which still witnessed a significant stock market crash. Story 34. That video games cause sexism. The studies that are often referenced conclude there is no link. People just don't check sources. Story 35. Drunk people do not get hurt in car crashes because they are relaxed or go limp. First, drunk drivers have a higher likelihood of dying or being severely injured in a car crash compared to sober individuals. We often hear about the few who walk away from a bad wreck, but we do not hear about the many who tragically lost their lives over the weekend. This phenomenon is known as survivorship bias. Second, drunk individuals are not asleep. They still tense up during a crash if they see it coming. Sober individuals tend not to tense up if they are unaware of an impending crash. Yet, this distinction rarely factors into the discussion. Third, the idea that allowing your head and limbs to move freely during a crash is more likely to prevent injury than to cause it does not make sense. Energy is energy. If it is transferred to your body, it affects you regardless. In fact, maintaining an upright and tense position may offer a better chance of avoiding injury by keeping you within the safety zones of the vehicle and the airbags. Personally, I have been in several serious accidents, and due to my strong core and back muscles, I always kept myself upright and tense. I never even felt sore the next day. There is a saying in boxing, the worst punch is the one you never saw coming. The same principle applies here. I have never understood how crashing my head into the side window and having my arms and legs thrown into the wreckage would be better than sitting upright. Finally, what is the evidence? This myth gets repeated frequently, but I have never seen a study cited or heard an expert explain why it would be true. Story 36. Hair and fingernails continue to appear to grow for some time after death. However, once a person is deceased, the cell replication required for hair and nail growth ceases. The perception of growth occurs because the flesh shrinks as it dries out, retracting the skin and making the nails and hair look longer. Story 37. The Earth is flat, and it is infuriating when someone with made-up science refuses to believe it is a globe. Story 38. The concept of a flat Earth was debunked by a flat Earth supporter at least twice. One individual spent around $20,000 of their own money on the endeavor. It was impressive. A third person aimed to launch himself in a homemade rocket, but the Federal Aviation Administration intervened. Story 39. That red wine makes you sleepy. Alcohol is alcohol. There is nothing special about red wine that would cause you to feel sleepier than white wine, for example. Story 40. The Eve gene. People truly believe that black women can give birth to every single race on the planet. I guess they have never heard of epigenetics and recessive traits. If you do not have the genome for blonde hair, then your child will not have that blonde hair. Be serious, people. Story 41. If someone is having a seizure, they are in danger of swallowing their tongue. Some people try to insert their fingers into the person's mouth to grab the tongue, which is incorrect for many reasons. Story 42. Duct tape over the mouth does not work effectively. The same applies to arms or legs unless a large amount is used. Handcuffs can be easily bypassed. Thick zip ties can be unlocked in the same manner as handcuffs. However, thin zip ties can be easily ripped off. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.